Forget everything you think you know about becoming a millionaire. Literally, throw it out the door because it is not going to help you here. In fact, I'm going to change your entire mindset about this. In this video, I'm going to tell you the 5 things that are stopping you from becoming a millionaire this year. One of them is a wealth secret that is completely backwards. The less you do, the more money you earn. I know, crazy. But as someone who went from homeless to multi-millionaire in 3 years, I can tell you it is a fact. Just hang in there and we'll get into it. But before we do, I do want to preface that this is not going to be anything motivational. So if you're looking for an online coach that's going to pump you up and lie to your face and tell you what you want to hear so you can give me your money, this is not the video for you. One thing my clients know about me is that I will tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so that you can go out there and do what? Actually make some money, because that's why you're here. Number 2, you are not going to be getting a hustle harder mantra because many of us are already at our max. We cannot hustle any harder. I am a wife. I am a mom of 3. I lead worship at my church. I run a weekly Bible study, a daily prayer meeting, and I run the 35th fastest growing woman-led company in the country. Making money is not the center of my life. And yet I have built a multi-million-dollar company starting from ground zero. So what I'm going to share with you are things that work in the context of real life. I'm talking about real life scenarios that were stopping me from becoming a millionaire and what changed as soon as I stopped doing them. So let's talk about 5 things that are stopping you from becoming a millionaire this year. First thing, number 1 is chasing plug and play businesses. Toyin, what you talking about? Anyone that tells you that you can start from nothing and build a multi-million-dollar business without needing to think is lying to you. Thinking is your superpower. And many plug and play businesses, and I call them business in a box coaches, are selling you a business with the promise of you don't have to do anything. They'll tell you, we already have all the marketing material you need. We already have the posts you need. We'll give you the script. We'll give you the captions. Literally, all you need to do is pick up my system, plug your name into it, and you are going to have $1 million in the next 12 months. They're lying, and you know it. Here's the fact. Any industry that requires no depth, none of your actual experience, very little, if any, of your personal input, education, understanding, any business that's just plug and play online, you yourself will get played. Now, I'm going to burst the bubble and tell you the truth that none of your coaches want to tell you because they're making too much money off of you. When it comes to businesses in a box like Amazon drop shipping, affiliate high ticket marketing, print on demand template stores, automated Etsy digital download bundle, those types of things, there is always someone else with more time than you doing the exact same thing. Now, if you're in like a real partnership, that's a different thing, like a joint venture or something. If you are aligned with a real offer, you deeply understand the industry, it operates like a joint venture, that may be able to work. But randomly promoting something because a coach is earning commission and promised you that selling that thing will make you rich is not a business strategy, my friend. It's not a business strategy. I'm not saying that these models never work. What I'm saying is most normal people do not have the time or capital to really compete in those industries. And so they get left in the dust while other people whose only responsibility currently in life is to just go to school. Y'all know what I'm talking about, because some of your responsibilities don't pass just going to school. You have a little bit more that you need to be doing every single day, okay? Now you're competing with other people because remember, no experience is needed, no anything is needed. You have 8 billion people on the planet. A huge chunk of those people have access to the internet. So when you are now competing with people all over the world who are all doing the same plug and play business because it is plug and play, you literally get left in the dust because some people are going to invest 10 hours a day into building that business. You likely can. But we fall for that stuff because we want it to be true. We want a no-name business with minimal effort, 10 hours a week, maybe 5 hours a week, maybe we'll give it 10, and $1 million. So if you want that to work, you would need to actually find a version of it that actually capitalizes on your skills or commit the time required to become an expert in the field. For example, my husband has a no-name business, so his face, his name is not connected to it, where he puts in about 20 hours a week, leverages what he already knew about graphics, video editing, and literally just being hilarious. I think this man could have actually been a stand-up comedian. So he uses those things to create content that is projecting to earn him a minimum of 6 figures, if not multiple 6 figures. But even though that content he creates is no name and he's spending less than full-time hours creating it, this isn't a business in a box for him because his content is coming from his real life experience, his real strength. So he is not having to compete at the level that most people do when they buy a business in a box. Now, if I tried to run in his business's lane, first of all, it wouldn't be as funny, so it wouldn't work at all because I don't have his sense of humor. But number two, it would also take me 60 hours to create half of what he could create. And someone like him would outperform me every single week. And it goes the other way. If he copied my business, because let's say he looks at my business and he's like, Toyin, you're at almost 10 million, girl. I'm gonna run a business just like yours. It wouldn't work for him either because my style of business is built for my personality, my actual area of expertise. I've been coaching and leading other people for over 20 years before I ever considered running a coaching business. So in an era where people's attention span is so short, and whatever industry you choose, you need to be able to capture their attention and actually produce and then keep their attention over time. So you can't afford to waste time on things that miss your true expertise. You need to know what you are actually good at and leverage that if you want to become a millionaire this year. Plus, what you're good at and what you choose to lean into has to sit in this intersection of what people will pay for and what actually makes you uniquely effective. Because I see people that be like, Toyin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sing to get my first million. I'm like, make that your second million. For your first million, like you can be gifted at something and it doesn't mean that's the thing that's going to get you the first million. So you need to know those two things. You need to know what makes you uniquely effective, what is something that lies in the center of your strength, but you also need to make sure that it's going to be something needed and necessary and people want to pay for it in the market. If you're stuck figuring out what that thing could be for you, don't worry. Hang out to the end. I'll share a free training where we can help you find that thing. Now, here's what I'm trying to say. If everyone could do a plug and play business and just become a multimillionaire, every Amazon seller would be a millionaire. Every AI creator would be a millionaire. But we both know not everybody is. Why not? Because businesses in a box are much, much harder than advertised. And the longer you invest money and energy into something that is disconnected from your real life knowledge, experience, thinking, the longer you delay becoming an actual millionaire. Y'all all right? Because this is just number one. We have 4 more to go. Number 2. The second thing that is stopping you from becoming a millionaire this year is avoiding uncomfortable conversations. Y'all, I hear people say stuff like this all the time. Sales is icky. And they say it for 2 reasons. Number 1, they haven't learned how to sell in a heartfelt, connected way. So yeah, some of the sales you people are doing out here is icky. But also, for most people, the reason they avoid conversations about money is because they have not trained their money mindset. So any conversation about money, not just sales, whether it's marketing, whether it's just that you have a business, you're a secret agent business owner. You have your business, nobody knows about it because you don't want to talk to nobody. You don't want to tell nobody about what you got. And when that is the case, you could be selling ice cream on a hot summer day and people are praying for your offer, for your solution, but they can never actually buy it from you because you feel so icky about talking about what you do. And all of this, my friend, is your money mindset. For some of you guys think, if God gave me this gift freely, how dare I charge anybody for it? And if people like you and they're engaging with you and they're coming to you and they're knocking on your door, but ain't nobody buying, yeah, this is probably the block, okay? And another symptom of this block is when you feel so intimidated about posting about your services. They're like, Toyin, don't go there. Don't talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. Let's talk about it, okay? We would rather plan for the business. You will talk freely to ChatGPT or Claude about the business. You would pray about the business. You would even cry for this business. But to go and turn on your camera and actually talk to people about it, avoidance. But one thing I will say is that this one isn't completely your fault, because the reason we avoid conversations with other people about money is because of the whack things we have picked up over the course of our lives and believed about money. And so we have certain beliefs like, number one, I can't afford it. If you grew up in a I can't afford it household, or maybe you are the perpetrator of said household, you automatically assume that because you grew up not being able to afford, or maybe you currently couldn't afford something, that no one else can afford what you have to offer, so you don't bother to tell them about it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually tell you guys a couple of money mindsets that are literally keeping you from just talking about your business and talking about money. The second one that comes to my mind is talking about money makes me annoying. Fill in the blank. Talking about money makes me icky, makes me annoying, makes me a predator, makes me whatever. This usually comes from those of you who grew up in households where we just don't talk about money, or they did talk about money and it caused problems. It caused fights or arguments. And so you told yourself, I don't talk about money. I mean, y'all know I could go in on this. I am a money mindset coach. I've done this work for almost 10 years. We have coached literally thousands of people in shifting their limiting beliefs about money and getting it out of the way so they can make more money. So I'm going to just geek out with y'all a little bit more, okay? Another one that I see very commonly is the belief that selling means you are bothering people. So you don't want to bother nobody. So you have your stuff and you just pray and wait and hope that people will come to you instead of you having to go to them because you don't want to bother anybody. Meanwhile, like I said, they're praying for your solution. Another really common one is I need more credentials first. So you keep thinking, I can't talk about my business until I get the next master's degree, the next this, the next that. But one more I'm going to say in this video, a real big belief that people have that keeps them from becoming a millionaire is people won't pay me for something this simple. And what you need to realize is because it's simple to you doesn't mean it's simple to us. These are just like 5 limiting beliefs that are keeping you from becoming a multimillionaire. If you do our actual money mindset shift program, you're going to see the full list of 119 beliefs. Most people that haven't actually gone through that kind of a process are walking around carrying like 23 to 64 different limiting beliefs about money. And just one of them is enough to keep you from talking freely about the value you have to offer with people who are going to be willing to invest to receive that value. So instead of doing the work of actually connecting with people and talking, what we would rather do, what's a lot more comfortable, is we get ourselves lost in logos and websites and automations and funnels and branding. And you'll even have coaches that will encourage you to use your time on the logo, on the color, on the this, on the that, but no one is telling you, hey, wake up. None of that is the money. None. What makes money for your business? Conversation. Whether that conversation is talking on video, marketing, promotion, typing. Some of you guys are like, Toyin, I don't want to be on video. I don't like video. That's okay. Even sitting down and typing your thoughts in a caption where your face is not even there is conversation with your people. Picking up your phone and calling people to offer them your services is conversation. When I first started, I didn't have the money for paid ads. I didn't have money for food. So I was like, whatever I got to use, I'm going to use. I picked up my phone and I literally went from the letter A in my contacts and started calling down one by one, offering my services. It was by the time I got to BRY, and I remember the last person, it was by the time I got to BRY in my contact list that I had enough funds to be able to transition to not needing to make calls that way and to actually market externally. But we don't want to talk to people. And what I need you to know is that money moves through connection. When you are able to communicate, when you are able to have conversation through connection, when you can actually show somebody the value that you are going to be providing to them, it does not move because you have a pretty business plan or you have really strong and good intentions about it. And the longer you keep avoiding conversations about money, the longer you delay becoming an actual millionaire. Number 3. Now, don't worry, y'all. I am going to talk about what I said in the beginning. The principle of how do you do less and earn more is coming. But number 3, the third thing that is stopping you from becoming a millionaire this year, and this is the one I understand why from this perspective of going from homeless to millionaire, this is the one that most boggles my mind about people who want to become a millionaire. Okay. So the third thing that is keeping you from becoming a millionaire this year is choosing to learn things the hard way. Now, I just started this YouTube channel and we are already on week 6. Within 6 weeks, we are 20% to our monetization goal. Now, I'm a numbers girly. I geek out on the numbers. And so what I've already calculated is if we never go viral, I just stay at the current pace that we are at, we are going to be monetized in about 6 months. So consider it like a total of 7.5 months from start to monetization. And that's if we never go viral. We already have a video that is already going viral. So I already know it's going to be shorter than the remaining 6 months. But if something happened and all of the momentum stopped and each video only got the amount that it's currently getting, which I've calculated, then we will be monetized in 6 months. The only reason it is also taking me that long, 6 months, is because I decided to launch 2 channels using the same strategy, but 2 different focuses. So I have this channel, which is where I'm going to be sharing my business insights, how to scale to millions of dollars. But I also have a Bible study channel where I just get to geek out on Jesus and the Word of God. And then in addition to that, my husband also launched a brand new channel at literally the exact same time. So his channel got monetized in 2 weeks, but why? Because that's his solo focus. And just put a pin on that because we're going to talk about that in the next reason that's holding people back from becoming a millionaire. But I decided to do 2 at the same time. Why? Because YouTube monetization is literally a fun goal for me, but it is not our bread and butter. Like we have a full multi-million-dollar business to run. And for me, this is part of a bigger strategy. So I didn't mind that it was going to take me a little bit longer if I did 2 channels. However, I would have minded if it was going to take me years to get monetized. So why am I saying all of this? Remember, this point is that one thing that is stopping you from becoming a millionaire is choosing to learn the hard way. So in the process of kicking off this YouTube channel, I do my homework. I started studying creators. I studied smaller people. I also studied larger people. I'm a neuroscience coach. I like to look beneath the surface to see not just who's doing really well, but who's been doing it a long time and isn't where they want to be. And what are the differences? Like, what do I want to avoid and what do I want to emulate? That's something that I just do. And I actually noticed something when I did this research. What I noticed was that many of the smaller creators said that it took them years to get monetized. Because you'll watch some of those, how much do you earn videos? Even some of the smaller creators would be like, it took this many years to get monetized. And then even though we're monetized, the growth is like flat, it's plateaued. The actual amount that you're earning is really low. Remember I said, I don't care about the actual funds from the monetization. But for me, if I'm going to do it, I'm very competitive. You're going to get to know that about me. me. Very competitive. So I'm like, how quickly can we get monetized? But I'm watching these videos and I'm like, this is very slow. And one of the common themes with a lot of the people that were like years to get monetized, really plateaued, it's okay and stuff, was a lot of them were like, we're just figuring it out as we go. We tried this niche first and now we're trying this niche now. And we're just trying this and we're trying that. And I remember just watching the videos and being like, I don't think like that at all as a millionaire. And I'm sharing this with you so that you can just you don't make the mistake that a lot of us make. And I'm not saying this to judge them. I'll tell you why this meant so much for me, this aha moment, because I wasn't always like this. But for years now, if I decide that I'm going to step into something new and something different, I will literally go and find the people who have already done it the fastest and the best. And like I said, sometimes I'll also research the people who are not where I want to be so I can learn what I don't want to do. And I don't even just research one person that has done it the fastest and the best. I'm talking 4 or 5 different people. And when I find them, I will study them. And it's not just like buy courses. I'm talking seeing what they're doing and how they're doing it and why they're doing it and the difference and nuance between them. And now and then, if it's a really in-depth process, then I'll get the coaching so I can understand what's going on the back end. Then once I've studied all of them, I will now take what works. I will leave what I don't think is going to work or what is not going to fit for me. And then I piece it together for my own self and I build my own strategy, leveraging what I've learned. And that's what I did when I stepped into YouTube. So as soon as we came in, I already had studied how am I going to be doing these hooks from this person? And I already studied how am I going to be doing my intros from that person? I already studied how we're going to do this piece and this piece. Every single element of it, I had studied so that I would hit my goal in the fastest path, especially because I knew I was going to be doing 2 channels at once. So as I'm watching these videos, I'm realizing that most people don't think that way. Like most people are literally content to figure it out on their own, and it's keeping you from becoming a multimillionaire. And I think the reason this point is such a passion point for me and such a no-brainer for me is because I know what it feels like to figure things out on my own. In fact, trying to figure things out on my own is what led us to becoming homeless in the first place and not having any money. Because I kept thinking like, I'm a smart woman. I will figure this out. I was attending free webinars. Free webinar. I will attend this one. I took notes. I took screenshots. I will do this. I will try this. And then I'm praying and I'm asking God, will you not show me how to make money work? Will you not show me how to make my business work? Why is it not working? And one day the Lord was like, Toyin, this is a prideful prayer because it's prideful of you to ignore that I've already revealed business insights to so many other people, but you want a special revelation that comes directly to you when all you need to do right now is humble yourself and go and sit down and learn from somebody else. And I remember in that season, the only investment I had ever made in my life was in university. I had never invested outside of, like I bought books and I read books and stuff, but I never actually made like a big old investment into like my brain and learning and coaching. I didn't even know that there were coaches like that. But when you get to a point where you need a coach, all of a sudden you realize that they exist because that's what you're looking for. And so my first investment was like $3,400. And I remember we did not have the funds for it. We literally had to call around to pull it together. Some people gave us $20, some people gave us $500. We pulled it together. When I invested, it wasn't anything like financial coaching, but all it did was it placed me in a room with multimillionaires, and being in that room completely exposed my personal limiting beliefs about money. That first program is what shifted our trajectory. When I went into that program, we could not cover rent. We were sending an email to ask for help to cover our rent. 3 years later, we were millionaires. And it was from that first exposure to learning from people who had already been where I wanted to be, even when they weren't even trying to train me on business. It was that exposure and my acceleration from that point that made me realize that I would never waste time trying to figure things out from scratch ever again. You don't need a coach for everything, but there are certain things that you actually do need a coach from. And I will always be the first person in line to learn from someone else if I'm going to be learning something new, because I genuinely believe that normal people can become multimillionaires. And I think that's just based on where I started. If you knew how whack my money mindset was, like, if you knew how much I sucked at money, like, I didn't even want to talk about money. I was afraid of money. So for me, I know that any of you guys who are watching this video can actually become a multimillionaire. But I also know that the length of time it's going to take you will depend on you. It will depend on your willingness to humble yourself, to ask for help, or just keep trying to push through and do it on your own. The second reason choosing to do it on your own and learn things the hard way keeps you from becoming a millionaire is because sometimes you actually need external help to refine your unique ability. Like, I remember back then when we were just starting, I knew how to help people become debt free. That was like the first thing that I knew was a value that had helped other people to do. They had become debt free. People were excited about that work. They were asking me questions. So I knew it was a value, but I did not know how to market myself. When I say even up to 2016, I was still learning what is Instagram, what is Facebook. I didn't really know how to market myself. And when I would talk to people about the program, it would be as if I'm begging them to do it because I knew I could help them. And guys, if I told you what the cost was of my program back then, it was $50 a month. And I literally remember having a 30-minute conversation with somebody, trying to show her how at $50 a month, I could help her pay off this massive amount of debt because I just knew how to do that. And she wouldn't do it. And then what happened? I got coaching. After that first investment, I started to see the change that had happened in my brain, what was happening in my life, in my finances, in my business. So I made my second big investment. It was like $13,000. Y'all, when I made that investment, I was like, Jesus, 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 Jesus. Like, it was real. And I remember when I made that second investment, the main purpose of it was to learn how to market, not to hire a marketing team, because many of y'all, you don't yet know how to market your own business, and you're going and you're hiring a marketing team. And the problem with that is if you don't know what is a good standard for marketing for your business and you hire someone else to come in and market your business, they will tell you it's good when it's not good. So you're not making money and they're telling you it's doing a wonderful job. And you are confused because you didn't learn it for yourself first. Anyway, so my first thing I did was learn how to market myself and how to frame the value of what I was offering. And it was out of doing that, learning how to do that, that I now had a conversation with the same person. And that same person now invested $4,000 to do the program that I was offering. It was like a year later. Why? Because I had learned how to package what I had differently and communicate that value to the person. That didn't just come to me. I didn't just learn it in the air. I learned it because I actually decided to invest into myself, learning and shifting. And $9 million later, I think I made the right choice, because wealth leaves clues and speed comes from implementation, but implementation that is standing on somebody else's experience. And the longer you insist on figuring everything out alone, the longer you delay actually becoming a multimillionaire. Number 4, the fourth thing that is stopping you from becoming a millionaire this year is selling too many offers. Y'all, this is the one that I learned that blew my mind. There is a wealth principle where the less you do, the more money you earn. And in the beginning of my journey, I really didn't understand this. It didn't make sense to me. Nobody even said it to me. I'll tell y'all how I learned this lesson. Back in the day when I was just getting started, trying to build our way out of that financial struggle place, we could barely cover rent. And I was just trying to figure out how to go from there to multimillionaire. And I remember starting to reach out to some women who were like local in my city, who I saw them online. They had been online much longer than I had. Because like I told y'all, I literally came online around 2015, 2016. Like 2016 was when I learned how to post on Instagram. Okay, so there were these ladies that had been online longer than I had, and they just looked a lot more like successful in terms of influence and impact. And back then I figured income. Now I've learned that like anyone can look anyhow online. Back then, I just believed everything that I saw online. But I remember messaging them just and asking, hey, because we knew each other in real life. I was like, hey, would you mind just like meeting up to have a coffee? And I just want to ask you a couple of questions because I want to step into this online space. Even if we don't meet up to have a coffee, let's do, if you don't mind, if I can give you a phone call and just ask you a couple of questions. They knew me, we saw each other at events. And when they saw me, they would be like, hey, Toyin, but they completely ignored like this specific request. And you guys remember I talked about that program that I did. In that program, they were going to pair me with a mentor. And I remember that when they told me who my mentor was going to be, it was this Black woman who was very successful. She was also local, but I'd never heard of her before. And she had done very well. Like she had a business that was doing extremely well. And I remember when I saw her photo and I saw it was another Black woman, I just had in my head like this image of all these other Black women. The way that some of them had responded to me was like I was going to be a competitor to them. What do you mean you're stepping into the online space? It was so funny. I remember when the guy called me up to tell me like who I was paired with, and he's like, you know, you can Google her. And I Googled her and I saw it was a Black woman. I was like, are you sure? Does she know who I am? And would she really be okay with being honest with me and like really sharing with me? And he was like so confused. He's like, why would she not be? Of course she wants to. She's a mentor. She's going to help you. She's going to meet with you. And in the moment, I like realized how silly I sounded, but that's how I felt. Like I didn't know if she would mind actually being honest with me and really sharing with me without having that scarcity, competitive mentality about it. And she did it. So we meet for our first session and I am like stoked, right? I've been waiting for this. I've been wanting to talk to someone and have someone give me some sort of insight. Remember, I didn't even know that there were people like coaches out there. We have a whole conversation and she's asking about my business. She tells me about her business and her story and her journey. And then at one point she goes, Toyin, how many different things are you currently doing? And she asked me to list it all. And so I write and then I show it to her and she says to me, Toyin, you need to focus. And I'm a very coachable person. Like I'm there to learn. She is where I wanted to be. So I was like, I heard you. I got you. Thank you. So we leave. We're supposed to meet 4 times over the year. This was the first meeting. I go back home and I actually cut stuff. Like I was like, okay, I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do this. And then I come back to the next session and I'm excited to tell her the update. I'm like, since our conversation, I've cut this and this. And then she's okay. We talk about all this other stuff. Toyin, list out for me all the different things that your hands are dabbling in right now. I list them out for her and she's like, you need to cut stuff. You need to focus. And I'm looking at her like, I am focused. I cut stuff. And she was like, no, this list is too long. And I was like, okay, cool. I got you. And it was like over and over again. This was the main message she kept telling me was you're doing too much. And it wasn't until I dropped, I think the whole time we met, I was in that place where I would drop a little bit more. And then eventually, by the time our sessions were done, that was when I had made my like final decision of instead of just holding on to this and holding on to that, I was like, the only thing I'm going to be doing is coaching on finances and doing it in this way, what I already know. And it wasn't until I dropped every other business idea and went all in on one of them that I actually gained traction. This is what Michael Masterson talks about in his book, Ready, Fire, Aim. Normal people collect skills, understanding, training. Meanwhile, millionaires build an offer and put it out to market. They build a product, they put it out to market. Literally, the only way that you can become a millionaire is if you get paid. And you don't get paid while you learn. You don't get paid while you research all sorts of different things. You get paid, my friend, when you put things out to market. You don't need 12 certifications, another master's degree to put things out to market. You need one clear problem that you can solve over and over again. In fact, I did not get a single certification behind my name until we had already done $250,000 in the business. Your income is going to grow from you repeating the same thing, boring as it is, over and over again. Not because of all the different places that you keep jumping around to, but we are addicted to variety. because doing a lot of different things feels safer for us. Why is that? If one thing fails, at least we have three other things that are going, except when you have three other things that are going, none of them get deep enough to actually work. And that's what I was saying in the last point about me starting 2 YouTube channels. The Bible says, count the cost. Jesus said, no man builds a tower unless he's willing to count the cost. And one of the things that I did when I was making my plan for YouTube, knowing that I was going to be doing 2 channels, was I said, Toyin, if you do this, you are going to double the amount of time it would take you to actually get monetized for either of them, because you are going to be splitting your focus. So every single week, I'm putting out content for both channels. And I asked myself, so are you cool with that? And like I told you, because I knew monetization is a fun goal for me, I already have my business, I already have my main income generator, and I wanted to have these 2 separate conversations. It was a decision that I was willing to make. But if I were just getting started, like in making money, period, I would not advise myself to start with 2 of anything, which is why I'm telling y'all, don't start with 2 of anything. Choose the thing that you want to do and go all in. Simplify, cut stuff in half, remove anything that is not necessary, because the more directions you are taking your energy, the weaker your effort becomes in the main thing that you need it to be. And the longer you keep trying to learn and do everything instead of mastering and selling one thing, the longer you delay becoming an actual millionaire. Number 5, consuming instead of publishing. The 5th thing that is stopping you from becoming a millionaire this year is consuming instead of publishing. I will never forget the day my dad walked into our living room, and I have 4 sisters. We were lying down on the floor watching television like little kids do. My dad walks in behind us, comes over, picks up the remote control, turns off the TV right in front of us, and then says to us, stop watching other people live their lives. Go and live a life worth watching. First of all, can I say my father was not playing about our success. But looking back now, years later, I have literally been featured on television so much. I have co-hosted 2 nationally TV shows. I have been featured on commercials. I've been featured on news, like as a contributor to news. I've been featured in Forbes, Success Magazine, all sorts of things. That moment, as much as back then I was young, I was probably a teenager or something. And so back then I didn't appreciate it. Back then I was probably pissed off because I was like, oh, you just turned off our TV. But we're very respectful, so I couldn't be pissed off. So you just say, okay, sir, and you go and you find something else to do with your time. But I don't think I really was like, thank you back then. But what I realized now, looking back, was that moment actually changed the way that I view consumption, because I realized in that moment that I was addicted to TV. Like I started to notice how much I watched TV. And I'm using TV as an example, but in our day right now, the thing that is hooking people is not television. It's Instagram, it's TikTok, it is whatever your platform of choice is, okay? Back then, here's what it looked like. I would tell myself that I wasn't watching the television. So the TV was like, you had to go, the way my parents' house was, you would go up the stairs. There was a landing with the living room and the television. Then there's another set of stairs to get to the bedrooms. So I would go up the stairs on my way to my bedroom because I was trying to avoid wasting my time and wasting my life on the television. But the TV would be playing. And I literally remember standing sideways because I'm going upstairs, looking at the TV like this, and literally just standing like this for an hour until the episode was done, just lying to myself that it's okay, I'm on my way up. And I would stay there and I would watch the whole thing. And so when I saw just how much of an effect television had on me, where if it was on, if it was a show, I'm just in, I'm hooked, I did something very deliberate when I moved out. I didn't buy a television. And even when I got married, we didn't get a television for 8 years on purpose. And now I have a TV, but it has lost that hold, that power that it had on me. So maybe like on a Sunday afternoon, we'll watch TV with the children, or Sunday nights, I will watch documentary with my husband, but that's literally it. And sometimes I'll skip the Sunday because I just don't even care. I'm not even thinking about it. But one of the things that is keeping you from becoming a multimillionaire, which many of us don't want to admit, is that we're addicted to scrolling and you are losing time. Scrolling trains our brains to consume. Posting trains your brain to produce. So your phone will either print money for you because of what you are both learning and implementing. Because listening to something like this, you'll actually identify your own limiting beliefs. You're going to identify things that are holding you back. There is consumption that actually makes you better. Don't get it twisted. I still will use my phone and I'm going to watch certain videos, but I'm very intentional about what I'm watching to make sure that it's getting me to where I want to go. Your phone is either going to print money for you or it's going to keep you from becoming a multimillionaire. And the main difference is how you choose to use it. I'm going to record another video showing you how you can build $1 million business using only your phone, because I have just been like, it is so easy in this year to make money. Like, it is so easy because of technology. Like, what you can do with your phone today. There are times where I will literally be outside running business and you're just on your phone. There's so much. Anyway, that's a whole other video. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell so that whenever that drops, you're one of the first to know. But honestly, like, in the times that we're living, attention is currency, and information that you receive, like what you're learning here, can only create income for you when you actually use it, when you actually implement it. But the longer you consume without producing, the longer you delay becoming an actual millionaire. If you fix even just 2 of these 5 things, you will shift your trajectory for this year. If you fix all 5 of them, the next 12 months will not look anything like your past 12 months. If you actually want to move towards $1 million this year, then I put together a completely free training to help you shift your limiting beliefs about money, increase your income, and make your money go to walk for you, because your money should be having money babies, not just sitting down doing nothing. So if you want access to the free training, go to Money Mindset Shift to go and watch it. And if it resonates, you can actually get a chance to have a free consultation with my team. If you have been stuck at a financial plateau and you know you are capable of more, then that training is going to help you understand what's been keeping you in this place. Now, I'm just going to say this, y'all. A lot of you guys watch my videos and you've been sending me Instagram DMs because y'all find me on IG. You send me emails telling me how much these very honest, transparent videos are helping and impacting you. And I read them and they mean a lot to me. But I've also noticed that a lot of the people who actually comment publicly in the YouTube comments end up being the negative Nancy's. Oh my gosh, and you have a Nigerian accent, you talk too much, blah, blah, blah. So if this video has helped you in any way, then I want to ask you for one personal favor. I want to ask you to comment below and share with us, what did you take out of this conversation? Which of these 5 habits are what you are breaking up with right now? I used to hear creators say stuff like that, subscribe, comment, and I was like, I don't know about that. But after seeing how brave and bold and quick negative people are, and then positive people will be like, Toya, I just really love what you did, and they just put it over on the side, I've decided, no, me too, I will use my mouth and I will tell you guys what I am asking for, because the platform is going to show the video to more people who comment here on YouTube, not on my DMs. And so if it's only the critics that they are hearing, that they are seeing, they're going to keep showing my stuff to the critics. Whereas if you guys are sharing what you are learning, those of you who are truly here to learn how to scale your finances, scale your business, it's actually going to bring more people just like you. So that's the only favor that I ask of you. Let me know below, what did you hear? What are you going to change based on this conversation? Now, as y'all know, this is our $1 Million Business Series. In our next conversation, I'm going to be breaking down for you the 5 things I would do if I had to rebuild my $9 million company from scratch this year. As soon as that video is live, it is going to be right here for you to view. Until then, make sure you click here to subscribe and hit the bell so that you're notified when I actually post it. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.